kind of the right-hand man to the owner. We can start with this slide, but like I said, I really want you guys to touch on just porn as a business, but also as an industry and how it may affect your personal life. So if it does, if you disagree with something I'm saying, please let me know. I love a challenge and I love a debate. Starting with this slide, I'm going to give you kind of my anecdotal experience, and just looking at this, I personally do not see someone viewing pornography to get in the mood, right? I don't really see someone using that as a tool to further their relationship in the immediate future. But the third and fourth topic, the escape reality and enjoy secret desire, I do think that that's the driver for the industry, and that's what drives the business of the adult world. Okay, most people that feel like they have to get in the secrecy of their own bedroom or in the secrecy of private, away from their significant other, and enjoy a secret desire, sometimes have a fetish. They tend to be a very strong niche in our business. They also have the strongest customer retention. At the end of the day, someone that has a fetish that they can't really explain to their wife or their husband tends to pay for it very frequently and in very large amounts. With that being said, I'm going to touch on some statistics, and I'd like to kind of have an open discussion on how you guys actually view it. This I thought was rather interesting. Wow. And that was the exact reaction I had. Now, mind you, this is per capita. So, yeah, I mean, the idea that Pakistan has the largest per capita viewing of pornography is a pretty stark, like, it's something that hits you right in the face, and you're thinking yourself away. The culture is completely different than what we view today in society, right? They have a much different way of viewing women, of viewing sex, how they divulge the physical attributes of a woman, how they divulge the physical attributes of a man. Their attire is different, everything is different, but yet, per capita, they drive the entire industry in terms of viewership. Mind you, there's a very big distinction between driving viewership and driving a customer base, okay? The largest consumer of pornography is the United States. It's roughly 2.84 billion in the United States of about a $5 billion industry. And mind you, our currency is strongest. That lends to the United States being a very big consumer of porn, but obviously not per capita. The irony of Utah being a very heavily religious state, a very Mormon, everybody's shaking their heads. Does that surprise anyone? I have some other kind of ironic statistics that I'll talk about, but I mean, it just kind of, it stuns you for a second, right? It doesn't, what'd you say?
You can't worry about them.
Well, I mean, it's not at the forefront of your mind. I wouldn't know what state to pick, but I would tell you that Utah is not on my list. Okay, now 40 million viewers in America are regular visitors. Think about the demographics.
Your amateur viewer.
Well, we'll get to the women. Yeah, the next one's the women. But 40 million Americans, I mean, think about that statistic. Does anyone know how many people are in the United States of America? Roughly how many people? Anybody take a wild guess? 7 billion? It's a little too much. 350, 360 million.
Well, that's really good.
But think about that. But think about that in context. 1 in 9. That means 11% of society are regular viewers of pornography. So it gives a little insight into how it's a business, right? There's obviously a strong demand for it. And we touched on this a little bit in the last lecture, but 1 in 3 viewers are women. Mind you, that another distinction between viewership and customers. Even though the viewers are women, our business is very heavily catered to men. I think the analogy fit well in the last class, but you can kind of look at it as a fast food chain. Because you can put a fast food chain just about anywhere and use a dragnet approach, you can put a fast food chain somewhere, just about anywhere, and you're going to find customers in your area that appeal to that actual food. I'm one of them. I love fast food. I'm sorry. Okay, but when it comes to actual pornography, most men are viewers. Now we'll get into the statistics of it actually at the bottom here. 20% of men admit to viewing pornography. 70% of men visit pornography, ages 18 to 24. Now, mind you, I think the age you can pretty much omit from here. I would strongly say that 70% of men in general, just from our own internal research. But there's a very interesting dichotomy there of who's admitting to viewing it and who's actually viewing it. So it plays to the idea that you can't actually admit to viewing pornography versus you can admit to it. And I went over this in the last class, but I know plenty of immediate family in my life. The only two people in my family that have ever admitted to viewing porn are my older brother and my younger brother. My dad, my uncle, just about every single person closely related to me, I say the name Pornhub or YouPorn, they're like, what is that? I don't know, no idea. You know what I mean? Like, nobody knows what it is, but yet I make the example. My dad called me once every 3-4 months, and it's like, I have a virus on my computer, I don't know how to get it off, I keep getting pop-up advertisements. I'm like, all right, Dad, I know exactly where it came from, I'll fix it. Going back, these were another couple of ironic stats here. The most popular day of pornography is Sunday. The day of church, the day of Sunday football.
Holy porn.
Yeah. It's ironic, right? I mean, you wouldn't figure that. We used to have, well actually we still have on Thursdays, just because it usually was one of the weaker days of the week, a bonus day for advertisers, so that they could make an extra 10% on their wages to stimulate the business. But I didn't have to see this number. If you would have asked me what's the #1 day for porn, I can tell you every single day of the week it's Sunday, because we see a spike in volume and a spike in joins and sales to our sites. And I had no idea what it was tied to. I can't explain it, but I think there's an interesting kind of just facet of how the industry works, that Sunday is the day that most customers prefer to be on it. I have no explanation, no rhyme or
And
reason.
Thanksgiving.
Oh, I'm sorry, I go back.
You said that the most busiest day for porn is Thursday?
Sunday.
Oh, I'm sorry. the
Now we
least-
know what
I'm
you're
sorry.
doing on Thursday.
Least. I'll tell you. Okay, yeah, the least popular day would be Thursday, you said, right?
Well, I would say so, yes. We have used tools on specific weekdays where business is weakest to stimulate growth. It's no different than a company when their sales are weak, a retail sales company, using a sale to stimulate growth, to stimulate volume.
What's your theory on that?
My theory on doing that, I think it's a good
No,
idea.
on why there's less porn viewing on Thursday. Do you have a theory on that?
I don't. I have my own theory on Sunday, but it wouldn't be verified. I think holidays lend to loneliness. I do. I think the holidays tend to lend to loneliness. I don't know the exact statistics, but I believe I've read somewhere that suicides tend to happen most like around Christmas.
Yeah.
I think it lends to loneliness. And a lot of what I believe, and this is more so anecdotal, and my experience, this is coming from 6 years of seeing a business grow 600% and seeing like what an actual, the business of pornography will do. I'm a normal guy. If you guys want to ask me like my personal habits and if I do porn, we can get into that. Like I said, I'm an open book. You guys can ask me anything. But yeah, I think it lends to that. I think a lot of pornography is driven by either a lack of feeling secure in being able to view it, or a loneliness, or something, an emptiness, a yearning for something that you're not getting in your day-to-day life. That's just, and remind you that has no,
Right?
that's not, I don't have a PhD, it's not anything related to, it's just purely anecdotal.
So what if there was like a couple that's completely happy, but the male just views porn just for the heck of it?
If they're a happily married couple, I don't see why the wife would have a problem with it.
If it does not become a problem for the couple, then it shouldn't be. When it is, it's when you're gonna make the money out of it, because you're gonna come to therapy.
And we talked about this in the last class. My personal belief in marriage is there are kind of non-negotiable few things that you need. And like I said, I'm a very happily married man. I gave the last class a little talk about how I feel about my wife. She's the best person in the world, and I never feel good enough. You always, there was what's the movie, As Good as It Gets? You make me want to be a better man. It really is the case. Like I always feel like I have to strive to be something better because I'm never going to be up to the echelon of what she is. So, without being cliche, it's a genuine, sincere feeling. That's just how I feel on that. But touching on that, like I believe comes from sacrifice, compromise, and selflessness. If you don't have those things, you mentioned the example of having a marriage, and if it's a happy marriage, then it isn't a problem. You don't have something to address. I know you guys are all going to school to be therapists, or on that track. But if you don't have a problem, then there's no need for a therapist. If that's what he likes to do, and you guys are, and the couple is happy, then why see a therapist?
And one of the articles that we had for this week was exactly talked about the fact that when a couple comes to therapy for a sex problem or a porn issue, usually there are underlying other issues. So they cannot really separate between the intimacy issues that are going on and the cyber sex and pornography issues that are going on. And we'll talk about it when we talk about the article.
Right, but like, what if the couple's like completely happy, but the male is watching porn, and then, like, he's just watching, like, my question is what is he not getting in his
Wait, but when you're saying completely happy, so she's happy too about him watching porn?
Well, they're happy.
Then there's no issue.
I'm confused now.
Well, no, I think there's kind of,
I get this question, I know what you're trying to say.
Okay.
You're trying to say like, because you're telling us that like something is missing from your relationship.
Right.
If they're happy, they're good together, then why
Then why
does
are
So
it
what is the
feel-
reason that he's watching
Yeah.
porn? If they're happy, so what is the reason?
Right.
now, I think, and this is purely playing on your guys' argument, I think, do you have to have a fully, completely fulfilled sexual life to have a happy marriage? Like, do you have to be able to be into every single thing that your significant other is into? I mean, the odds of that happening mathematically are very rare. My wife and I always talk about the whole soulmate idea. Like the odds of you find your soulmate. If you're waiting for your soulmate, I mean, I'm a math guy. My business, the way I run everything I do in my day-to-day life is a risk calculation. I'd be waiting a very long time to find that significant other because they may be on the other side of the world. But I think in that argument, I don't believe that you need to have a completely fulfilled sexual life to have a happy marriage or to have a great sex life. Like, you don't have to necessarily, and that's just a belief I have. I'm kind of catering to your argument here. You understand what I mean? Like, if what you said is true, they have a happy marriage, I have a saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If they have a happy marriage, and he's watching his porn, then what is it?
For whatever reason.
As long as
He's
they're
okay
married.
with it, he's okay with it, and they're happy.
That's just my 2 cents.
Okay.
Oh, that next slide really isn't catered to that point. Okay, we're going through this. I think those points are great, by the way, because it really does, I think it plays a very large role in society. I mean, pornography is everywhere, and clearly a bunch of society is watching it, or I'd be out of the job if they weren't. But 40% of families are saying that it's a problem in their home. Now, that's a very kind of vague statistic, right? Like, well, where is the problem stemming from? I can't go into why it's a problem, but that's something that the couple needs to figure out on where it's derived from. These are just some obscure statistics. 28,000 people are looking at porn every second. These odds, and we're going to get into, we had quite a lengthy discussion about child pornography. Yeah, nobody accepts it, nobody condones it. I can tell you some crazy stories about how marketers of ours were mistakenly accused of it because we ran into crazy situations where a marketer that we have nothing to do with, they're subcontracted, will be advertising a website and they put it in the wrong spot, and all of a sudden it's one of those sting operations like you've seen on Dateline with Chris Hansen, you know, like, come in, have a drink, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? And then boom, the cameras come in. Well, we can't control it, but we can tell you some crazy stories of when it happened and someone was falsely accused of it, and all of a sudden the SWAT team's throwing flashbangs in his house, and he's like, whoa, you know, look at my computer, I'm not a pervert, you know, I'm not looking at child pornography, I'm not advertising to a minor. But, unfortunately, there's a very large business, right, and most of it is overseas. In the last class, somebody was asking me, well, how is it monetized? Like, how can you actually make money off it? I'll be honest, I'm not in that business, so I don't know. I have a very good hunch. Everything stems back to, you know what they say, follow the money at the end of the day. Like, you ever think of like Godfather and Organized Crime? Follow the money. If you follow the money, eventually you're going to lead back to whoever's taking the money, and that's the credit card processor, right? So you look for a merchant account. Well, unfortunately, our laws here in the United States do not apply to the laws of, say, Uganda.